Welcome back to Predicting the NFL with Mickey G. We are now getting ready for a beautiful Week 6, and last week we did okay. We went a clean 7-7, 500, and I love that the dog chooses right now to start barking. We got both the game of the week and the crap fest incorrect, but we did get our upset correct because I bet on the boys. The Jaggies got it done, baby. Their legally mandated one win of the season against the Colts at home was successful. You're unserious. My grandma even said, Mocha, is that really necessary? I agree. I don't think it is. Dog, please stop barking. But the Jersey team also did, in fact, win. I believe it was the Vikings, correct? Yeah, Vikings, that's right, because it was AP Jersey, and they beat the Jets. And I also picked them to win, so that is a pick-win correction in that column as well. So for this season so far, we are now 41-37, staying ahead of that 500 mark. 2-3 now in the game of the week, 2-3 in the upset, and 2-3 in the crap fest. However, teams are 3-2 when I wear their jersey, and my picks are 2-3. So the only one that is different is that teams have a better record than when I pick them, which is interesting. So now, overall for week 5 in history, we are 52-34, 1-4 in the game of the week, 2-3 in upsets, 4-2 in crap fests. Teams are 2-0 when I wear their jersey, and I'm also 2-0 in my picks for week 5. So pretty solid in week 5. So let's move into how last week went. All right, week 5. Well, the Bills and the Texans played kind of a really gross game. Josh Allen had one of his worst stat lines I've ever seen. Not the game of the week for sure. Yeah, the Texans did come away with it, though. Good for them, bad for the division. The Colts and the Jags had a nice fire shooter game. Lots of yards thrown, lots of touchdowns, a lot of good stuff there. Jags had come away with the win. There was even a nice 85-yard touchdown pass to BTJ, baby. He had a great game. Trevor had a great game. And there's a funny image of a guy diving for BTJ, arms stretched way out, missing him, falling to the ground, and then he later got cut after the game, which is even funnier. The Ravens and the Bengals had a barn burner for sure, back and forth all day long, and eventually, after a lot of mistakes on both sides, back and forth, just trying to give the game away, the Ravens were able to get it thanks and help to Derrick Henry having a nice 50-yard run to set up the game-winning field goal. The Dolphins won the crap fest against the Patriots. Patriots looking real bad. Now they're starting Drake May this week. Not a good look for him, though. He's going up against the Texans defense, who was able to destroy Caleb Williams when they played against each other, so I'm not too excited for how he's going to turn out there. Dolphins still look really bad, though. They still don't have a quarterback, and they're not going to win anything. I think they might even have a bye this week to rest up a little bit. They do have a bye this week, so that's good for them. The Raiders look very disappointing. Gardner's actually getting benched. AOC and O'Connell will be starting this week for them. The Broncos get themselves another win. Their defense looking great, and a good performance from Bo Nix, but I'm just waiting for him to play some real teams again. The Vikings, like I mentioned before, beat the Jets, and they fired Robert Saleh. They fired their head coach, who's a defensive-minded individual, even though it's their offense that's not performing well, unlike their defense, which is performing well and has always been performing well. They just went from Zach Wilson to old and angry Aaron Rodgers. Mocha! I'm going to destroy that dog. All right, moving on, we had Washington with an absolute destruction over Cleveland. They had a great, fun game. Jayden Daniels continues to play perfectly, and Deshaun Watson continues to look bad. The Cowboys beat the Steelers on that big Sunday night game that was delayed for about an hour and a half, which was very, very frustrating for me. I did not enjoy waiting for that game to start, and it was an ugly game. It was a gross game, just like I said it would be. The Steelers failed at the end. They allowed that touchdown at the end to lose. Both of these teams do not look very exciting. The Saints They lost to the Chiefs. They didn't look too great. Derek Carr got hurt at the end, which hurt a lot. And now Spencer Rattler is going to be starting for them, so that's not a great move for the Saints. They're going to start going on a bit of a rough downward spiral. The Buccaneers and the Falcons gave us probably game of the year so far. That was fantastic. Amazing game. Thursday, especially the best Thursday night game we've had in a while. Kirk Cousins over 500 yards passing, slinging the ball all over the place, and get the touchdown on the last play with the pass nice to Daryl Hodge, I believe. Great stuff there. The Bears absolutely destroy the Panthers. I need to stop forgetting that the Bears defense is good. They can play well against bad teams. The Cardinals with a surprise victory over the 49ers. There was a lot of defensive touchdowns, and this is one of the games that had one. It was just kind of disappointing. The 49ers are in a tough spot. They're struggling. Purdy is struggling, and they need to really figure something out. The Giants beat the Seahawks. Seahawks, they were going pretty well, and then they had a kick blocked return for a touchdown that ended the game and gave it to the Giants. Real unfortunate there, but I was not thinking great things about the Seahawks defense, and Daniel Jones is playing a lot better the last few weeks than I would have thought he would be. So they're doing all right there, and the Packers were able to beat the Rams. An ugly game there. Neither team really wanted to win, but soon the Rams should be getting some of their playmakers back. Kupp, I believe, should be back soon, potentially even this week, so that could be big for them. But the Packers, they get the win there, and they keep their winning ways, and they are fighting for that division right now, and I want to say they can do it. But that's all that happened last week. It's time to talk about this week's predictions. First, we have the Colts at the Titans. This is actually our crap fest of the week. The AFC South does not look great, and these teams look bad. The Colts just lost to the Jaguars, even though they had Flacco playing, and Anthony Richardson is expected to come back this week. The Titans are also starting Will Levis this week, which I don't fully understand that move, considering he has not shown any positives at all this season. So I can't really pick the Titans when they're starting him, even though Richardson's also bad. There's a greater chance, I think, that he gets injured before Levis, and then Flacco can come in sooner than Mason Rudolph can. And let's be honest here, Flacco's better than Mason Rudolph, so I got to go give it to this team's backup quarterback instead of the other one's backup quarterback. Colts are getting this one. Next is the Texans at the Patriots. Patriots not looking good. They're starting a rookie quarterback this week. I think C.J. Stroud and the boys, they'll go out there. He had a pretty solid game last week, a lot of turnovers and stuff like that. So I think he can go out there and get it again, especially against this really sad-looking Patriots team. Then we have the Steelers at the Raiders. Steelers and Raiders. Usually the Raiders win these matchups, but I don't really think AOC's got it. Steelers bounce back week maybe after their loss to the Cowboys and the Colts the last 2 weeks. They've got to do something here. Maybe they can win it in Vegas. Going with the Steelers in this one. Next is the Chargers at the Broncos. Chargers, you all know I'm a huge fan. I've been wanting the Broncos to lose games, man, but they've won the last couple. Defense is playing really good, but that's specifically their pass defense. I think the Chargers can ride this run offense, get a lot of yards there, and go out there and win this game against the Broncos. I'm expecting a lot of mistakes from Bo Nix in this one. Next is the Bills at the Jets. Jersey game here. I'm wearing the Tyrod Taylor. That's what we need from Josh Allen. We needed a highly efficient, no turnover game from him to beat these Jets defense. Jets defense is good. However, they're now without their leader, Robert Saleh. And I believe Hackett's the one who's taking over the head coaching duties. He didn't do a great job in Denver. I don't think he's going to do a great job here. I think the Jets are going to go even further down a spiral. Heads are going to roll even more than they already have. Bills are winning this one. Next is our upset of the week. We have the Jags at the Bears in London, baby. Bears, they've been on a bit of a win streak, I think, recently. They won the last couple, 2 or 3, maybe. And the Jags, they won their first one. It was their legally mandated win, so it doesn't mean a whole lot. I hope so. The run game's looking good. Bigsby is really coming out of his shell. I think that 1-2 punch of him and Etienne is looking pretty good so far. I would like them to use both of them the way they have. Etienne's been doing a lot more in the pass game, and Bigsby been running really well. If they keep giving him the ball, and Bigsby I think is actually leading the league in yards per carry. It's like 8 something or even higher. Jags, I think, are looking good. They are in their home away from home, and I am coping, so I'm picking the Jaguars in this one to upset. Next is Washington at the Ravens. This is our game of the week, okay? 2 running quarterbacks doing great stuff so far. Lamar and the Ravens, they started out a little slow, and now they're fighting back real hard. And the Washington Commies, they've been doing good. I think they might even be on like a 4-game win streak right now, which is kind of crazy. I think they lost week 1, and they've been doing really well since then. But I think their win streak comes to a close here. The Ravens are looking pretty hot as well so far. They had a close one. They won barely against the Bengals last week. They're going to keep up those winning games. And I think, unfortunately, Jayden Daniels takes the L in this one. Next is the Browns at the Eagles. The Browns, they look stinky. The Eagles are coming off a bye. That should be a lot helpful for them. They're taking this one. I can't pick the Browns to win. They have 1 win so far this season. It's against the Jags. That's not good. The Bengals at the Giants. Giants have had a couple wins recently. They're not against super opponents. Seahawks, that whole division, I'm not sure. Those teams can win every game and lose every game. I'm not totally sold on any of them. The Bengals, on the other hand, they've been really close the last couple weeks. They got one a couple weeks ago, and they've been fighting. They almost had it last week against a really good Ravens team. I think they should be able to beat the Giants here. I think it's a nice bounce back week for them. Moving to the NFC, we have the Niners at the Seahawks. Like I said, this is a division that I don't really know what's going on with. I gotta go. I'm thinking 49ers here, okay? They've lost a couple in a row here, so the Seahawks both are sliding a little bit here, and I think the Niners are able to get this one, though. I think they bounce back. They're close. They're there, and I think their defense is better than Seattle's. I think that's going to be the difference. I think Seattle's defense is rough, and they're going to allow a lot of points here, a lot of yards, and that's what's going to be their downfall. The Cardinals at the Packers. Packers are looking good. Cardinals, they had a big win last week. I don't think that stays. Kyler Murray also announced he has a partnership with Call of Duty now. So I think his numbers are going to start to tank a little bit maybe. So Packers, I'm going in this direction. The Buccaneers at the Saints. I thought this was going to be an exciting game if Derek Carr was healthy. Unfortunately, Spencer Rattler is playing, and he is terrible. So I'm going with the Buccaneers in this one. They had a close loss last week against the Falcons. They're going to be upset. They're going to be fired up. They're going to go out there, and they're going to make some big plays. The Lions at the Cowboys. Cowboys got themselves a sneaky victory. They are, however, bad. The Lions are a good team. They're in a tough division, and all those teams are good. Excited for those matchups, but this is not a divisional matchup. The East is bad. Washington should win that division, so I'm going to go with the Lions in this one. They're looking good. They're coming off a bye as well, so they've been sitting at home. They've been preparing for this Cowboys team. They saw a lot of cracks last week and the previous weeks before that, so they're going to go out there and they're going to get this victory easy. And the Falcons at the Panthers, our last game, and the Falcons looked great on Thursday. Absolutely fantastic, especially offensively. Kirk Cousins throwing for a lot of yards and a lot of players making plays. My boy Kyle Pitts had one of his best games of his career, if not his best, and so I think I got to go with the Falcons over the Panthers here. They've been looking real sad. Even Bryce Young got to play a little bit last week, so they're not in a great spot, and so I'm definitely going with the Falcons in this one. Now, the teams on a bye this week are the Dolphins, Chiefs, Vikings, and Rams. So a lot of those teams needed a lot of rest, so especially the Rams, that's going to help them a lot. If they can rest up this week and they can get Kupp back, maybe even get Puka back as well next week, that's going to be huge for them, especially finding out who they're going up against. The Raiders, they're not going to need them for that. They should win that anyways. But the Rams, it's going to help a lot. The Vikings, they get to cool off a little bit. Sam Darnold they've been throwing a little more interceptions recently, and maybe he'll cool off too. The Chiefs, they have a lot of injuries. That's going to help them heal a little bit. And the Dolphins, they have a lot of injuries, so they need to heal as well. So it's a big bye week for all 4 of these teams, I think. And yeah, that's all for this week. I'm moving very quickly, I believe. And thank you for stopping by, and make sure to come back next week.